Ladies and gentlemen, there's a deep pain that comes with giving your heart to someone who doesn't appreciate it. You invest your time, your energy, and your love into a person who takes it all for granted, never truly understanding the depth of what you're offering. You stood by them when they were down, lifted them when they were weak, and showered them with the kind of care and compassion that is rare in this world. But now, as you prepare to walk away, there's a profound truth that they are yet to face very soon. They will feel the agonizing sting of losing you, and it will cut deeper than they ever imagined. You see, it's easy for people to get comfortable when they believe you'll always be there. They take your kindness as a given. Your loyalty is something that will never waver, and your presence is something they don't have to earn. They become blind to the fact that love, patience, and dedication are not endless resources. They can only be sustained if they're reciprocated, if they're appreciated, and if they're cherished. And when those things are lacking, even the kindest heart eventually reaches a point where it can give no more. It's heartbreaking when someone doesn't realize your worth until it's too late. They may think they can find someone else who will give them what you did, but deep down, you and I both know that what you offered was something rare, something genuine. They'll go on with their life thinking they've moved on, thinking they're fine without you. But life has a way of catching up with people. Very soon, they'll feel the emptiness that your absence creates. At first, they might not even notice. They might tell themselves they're better off without you, that they can do just fine on their own or with someone else. But the truth is, your presence in their life was irreplaceable. You were the one who listened when no one else cared, who stayed when things got tough, who forgave when others would have walked away. You were the one who gave them comfort, stability, and unconditional love. And once you're gone, that void will be impossible to fill. They'll go searching for the same kindness, the same understanding, the same loyalty you offered, but what they'll find are shallow connections that don't compare. They'll meet people who don't have the patience you had, who don't understand them the way you did, who won't put up with the things you tolerated because of how much you cared. And slowly they'll start to realize just how much they lost when they lost you. Imagine them sitting alone one night, replaying memories of all the times you were there for them when you wiped their tears, when you stood by them in moments of weakness, when you gave them your undivided attention, even when they didn't deserve it. The regret will begin to creep in, eating away at them as they come to terms with the fact that they took you for granted. They'll wish they could go back, wish they could undo the way they treated you, wish they had held on to you tighter when they had the chance. But by then, it will be too late. You'll have moved on. You'll have found your peace. You'll have realized that you deserve so much more than what they were willing to give. And while they're stuck in the past, haunted by the memory of what they lost, you'll be embracing a brighter, happier future, one filled with people who see your worth from the start, who value your presence, and who give you the love and respect you deserve. Your absence will speak volumes. It will be a constant reminder of what they lost, because they couldn't see what they had. Every time they encounter someone who falls short of what you brought into their life, every time they find themselves longing for the comfort and care you once provided, they'll feel the pain of losing you all over again. And that pain won't just be temporary, it will be a lingering regret, a shadow that follows them, a lesson learned too late. So walk away with your head held high, knowing that you were a blessing in their life. They may not have realized it while you were there, but very soon they'll feel the void left by your absence. And when that day comes, they'll know that they let go of something special, something real, something they'll never find again. And you'll be free to find the peace, love, and happiness that you truly deserve. Ah, ladies and gentlemen, so they found their way back to the door they once slammed shut, haven't they? Crawling back with regret heavy in their hearts, hoping to slither past the damage they caused, hoping that your kindness will once again outweigh your common sense. But listen closely, my friends, this is the final test. Their return is not a second chance, it's a reminder that some bridges are meant to stay burned, that not every knock deserves an open door. Do you remember those sleepless nights they gave you? The ones where your heart felt like it was suffocating under the weight of their betrayal? Where the silence screamed louder than any words they could have said? They don't remember those nights the way you do. To them, they're just a footnote, an inconvenience. To you, they were survival. And now they think they can waltz back into the life they left shattered and act like nothing ever happened. No, this isn't their redemption arc. This is your moment of clarity. It's funny, isn't it? How the ones who leave you questioning your worth are the same ones who come back, expecting you to give them everything they once disregarded. They left you for greener pastures, but those fields turned to barren wastelands, and now they see the garden they abandoned. But let me tell you something, my friends, your worth isn't a convenience they can return to when the world disappoints them. Your worth is a fortress, guarded by the pain you endured and the lessons you've learned. When they walked away, they made a choice. They chose to disrespect you, to belittle your love, to treat your peace as something disposable. And now they've learned the hard way that what they had wasn't ordinary. It wasn't replaceable, but their regret doesn't entitle them to a second chance. Their realization comes too late, and it's not your responsibility to mend what they broke. They'll come back with excuses, with apologies dripping from their lips, hoping you'll forget the harm they caused. But remember this, an apology without action is manipulation. It's not about them being sorry, it's about them being uncomfortable. Uncomfortable with the consequences of their actions, uncomfortable with the void they created in their own lives. They're not here for you, they're here for themselves. Don't let them mistake your silence for weakness. Your silence is your strength. It's the loudest declaration that their chaos no longer has a place in your life. Let them stew in their regret. Let them wrestle with the weight of their decisions. Because you've grown past them. You've built a peace so solid that their return can't shake it. Think of the courage it took to let them go in the first place. To step away from the toxicity, the disrespect, the pain. That wasn't an easy decision. It was one made with a heavy heart, but a clear mind. And now, here they are, testing the very strength it took to leave. Don't let them undo your progress. Don't let their desperation become your downfall. It's tempting, I know. The idea of giving them a taste of the love they once rejected. The idea of proving to them that you were always the better option. But you don't owe them proof of anything. Your existence, your happiness, your peace, they're all the proof you need. Their regret is their punishment, and your growth is your reward. You see, people like them think they can take without giving, destroy without rebuilding, hurt without consequence. But life doesn't work that way. Karma has a funny way of balancing the scales, and their regret, that's the beginning of their reckoning. It's not your job to cushion their fall. They need to feel the impact of what they've done. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Forgiveness is for your soul, not theirs. You can forgive them from a distance, release the bitterness from your heart, and still keep them far away from the sanctuary you've created. Forgiveness doesn't grant them access, it grants you freedom. Let them carry the weight of their actions. Let them learn the hard way that love isn't something to be trifled with, that respect isn't optional, that kindness isn't a weakness. Let them see that your absence speaks louder than their words ever could. You deserve someone who values you from the start, not someone who only realizes your worth after losing you. Someone who sees your light and cherishes it, not someone who tries to dim it. Someone who builds you up, not tears you down. And that someone, they're out there, waiting for you to let go of what's already gone. So when they come knocking, remember this: your life is not a revolving door for their convenience. Your peace is not a place they can return to when the world grows cold. Your love is not a second-hand gift they can reclaim. You've given them enough. Now it's time to give to yourself. They thought they could rewrite the narrative, turning themselves from villains into victims. They thought that showing up battered by their own decisions would erase the chapters where they caused you pain. But life doesn't work like that, does it? Their actions are etched into the fabric of the past, and no amount of apologies can unweave the tapestry they shredded. Let them come, let them plead, but remember, your worth isn't found in their approval or their remorse. Every tear you shed for them was a seed planted in the soil of your strength, and now you stand as a garden in full bloom. They see it, and it burns them. It burns that you thrive despite their efforts to keep you down. It burns that you learn to love yourself in ways they never could. Their regret isn't a plea for reconciliation, it's the envy of a soul that no longer belongs to them. Don't let their sorrow manipulate your kindness. They'll try to paint you as heartless for walking away, for not opening the door they once slammed in your face. But let me tell you something, my friend, you don't owe them access to the new life you built. They had their chance, and they squandered it. Their tears now, that's the price of their own recklessness. And isn't it ironic how they called your kindness a weakness, yet now they crave it? How they dismissed your loyalty, yet now they beg for it. They mocked your love, only to discover it was a treasure they were too blind to see. The irony is delicious, isn't it? But you don't have to taste it. Their regret is their burden to carry, not yours to shoulder. There's a peculiar satisfaction in watching them squirm under the weight of their own choices. But even in their discomfort, your focus shouldn't be on them. It should be on the freedom you've claimed. Freedom from the chains of their toxicity, from the cycle of their disrespect. You broke free, and that's a victory they'll never steal from you. They thought you'd stay broken. They thought their absence would devastate you, that their cruelty would leave you incapable of healing. But look at you now, rising, glowing, living. You've become everything they feared you'd be without them happy. And that, my friend, is the ultimate revenge, though you weren't even trying for it. When they see you now, it's like looking at a masterpiece they'll never own. They stare at the strokes of confidence, the hues of joy, the texture of peace, and they know they'll never touch it again. It eats at them, doesn't it? But remember, their regret isn't your problem. It's a testament to your growth, a consequence of their own folly. They'll try to twist their regret into a sob story. They'll act as if their pain is greater than yours, as if their loss outweighs your suffering. But don't be fooled. Their regret is selfish. It's not about missing you. It's about missing the benefits of you. They don't regret what they did, they regret the consequences. You, on the other hand, have no time for their theatrics. You've outgrown the drama, the manipulation, the chaos. Your life now is a sanctuary, a place of peace and purpose. Don't let them bring their storm into your calm. Let their regret be the wall that keeps them on the outside, looking in. It's not cruelty to protect your peace, it's self-love. They'll call you cold, unkind, unforgiving, but those are the words of people who can't handle accountability. Let them speak. Their words are just whispers in the wind, compared to the roar of your resilience. You don't need to explain your choices to anyone. And oh, the satisfaction of knowing that your absence is the loudest message they'll ever receive. You don't need to raise your voice or seek revenge. Your silence, your happiness, your success, it's the echo that will haunt them for years. Let them feel it, for it's a pain they earned. Some will say you should let them back in, that everyone deserves a second chance. But those people don't know the battles you fought. They don't understand the scars you carry, the nights you cried, the strength it took to walk away. Not everyone deserves a second chance, especially not those who never valued the first. They'll call it selfish, but it's not selfish to choose yourself. It's survival. It's wisdom. It's knowing that you can't pour from an empty cup, and they drained you dry. You've learned to refill it, to nurture yourself, to love yourself. And now, you're unstoppable. Their regret doesn't define you. Their pain isn't your triumph. It's simply a reminder that life has a way of balancing the scales. Focus on your joy, your growth, your future. Let them live in the shadows of their choices while you bask in the light of your new beginnings. So when they come back, knocking on the door of your life, remember this: you owe them nothing. Not your time, not your forgiveness, not your love. Your life is yours to live, free from the chains of their regret. And in that freedom, my friend, you'll find the greatest peace of all. And here's the final thought. My dear friend, when they sit in the quiet of their regret, when the world around them stills and their own choices echo the loudest, let them face the truth they tried so hard to escape. You were their gift, their light, their chance at something real, and they fumbled it. But you've risen, you've rebuilt, and you've become a masterpiece untouched by their shadows. Let that be your triumph, for nothing is more powerful than a soul that refuses to be dimmed. Let them live with the consequences of their choices. Let them wrestle with the reality they created. You don't need to explain yourself, justify your actions, or offer them closure. Closure is a luxury they forfeited when they chose to hurt you. Your silence is your power, your peace is your triumph, and your growth is your victory. Let them regret losing you, but never regret choosing yourself. Because in the end, your story isn't about them, it's about you. And your story is just beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, isn't it funny the way they thought they could break someone who's already been through the fire? They thought they'd be the one to push you over the edge, to bring you down to your knees, to take the pieces of your broken past and turn them against you. But oh, how wrong they were. See, they didn't understand that those broken pieces they wanted to exploit, they were the very parts of you that made you unbreakable. They thought your scars were weaknesses, thought they'd found the cracks in your armor. But those scars, they were your strength, your battle marks, your proof that you'd already faced and survived things far worse than anything they could throw at you. They thought they'd be the ones to make you crumble, to finally finish the job that life had already tried so hard to do. They couldn't comprehend that the pain you've felt before, the darkness you've endured, all of it has shaped you into someone far stronger than they could ever handle. They played their little mind games, threw their words like knives, thinking they'd find a way into your mind, into your heart. But all they did was reveal their own weaknesses, their own fragility in the face of someone who's already been through it all. What they didn't realize is that you'd learned from every wound, every heartbreak, every betrayal. You'd built yourself up piece by piece after every fall, every disappointment. And instead of shattering you, those experiences gave you the wisdom, the resilience, the strength to see through people like them. You weren't naive, you weren't blind, you saw exactly what they were trying to do from the very beginning, and you let them think they had the upper hand. Because you knew that in the end, they'd only be fighting themselves. You see, they thought they were getting close, thought they were digging deep into the core of you, thought they were tearing down your walls. But you were never letting them in, you were watching, learning, waiting. You let them expose themselves, let them believe they had control. They thought they could handle someone who'd already faced the darkness, but they didn't understand that you'd made peace with it, had learned to use it as a source of strength rather than weakness. They believed they'd uncovered your secrets, your fears, the ghosts of your past. But you were 2 steps ahead, weren't you? You knew that whatever they found, whatever they thought they could use against you was something you'd already overcome. You'd already made it through that fire, and there was nothing left for them to destroy. They tried to weaponize your past, to make you feel small, insecure, broken. But instead, they found themselves dwarfed by the strength of someone who'd faced the worst and emerged standing. And now they're left grappling with the reality of who you are, the person they tried so hard to break, who ended up teaching them a lesson they'll never forget. They expected someone fragile, someone who'd fall apart at the first sign of trouble. But what they got was someone who'd been built by adversity, by resilience, by fire. You taught them that strength doesn't come from living a perfect life, it comes from surviving the storms and finding yourself on the other side, stronger, wiser, unbreakable. Their attempts to control, to manipulate, to hurt you, they were met with a wall of resolve they couldn't even begin to fathom. They thought they'd leave you in ruins, but it was they who ended up undone, exposed by their own insecurities, their own weaknesses. And now, they're haunted by the realization that they were never truly in control, that their power was an illusion, a mask that crumbled the moment you saw through it. They underestimated you because of your past, thought that having been broken once meant you'd break easily again. But what they didn't understand is that your past wasn't a burden, it was your foundation, your strength, your proof that you could survive anything. They thought they'd make you feel small, make you doubt yourself. Instead, they've been left questioning their own worth, their own tactics, their own reasons for trying to bring down someone who's already weathered the storm. In the end, they played themselves, trying to play you. They thought they could trigger your insecurities, make you feel inadequate, unworthy. But they only revealed their own lack, their own emptiness. They wanted you to feel weak. But every word, every game, every attempt to bring you down only strengthened your resolve. They've learned now that true strength doesn't come from manipulation or control, it comes from surviving, from enduring, from rising above. They're haunted now, haunted by the fact that they couldn't break you, couldn't get under your skin, couldn't shake you. They wanted power, control, dominance, but all they ended up with was the cold realization that they were powerless against someone like you. They underestimated the power of resilience, of self-acceptance, of facing one's past head-on and finding peace within it. And that realization, it's something they'll carry with them, something they can't unsee. They've been left with a lesson they'll never forget, that you can't break someone who's already been through hell and back. You've shown them that the strongest people aren't the ones who have had an easy life, they're the ones who have faced the hardest battles and still find the strength to keep going. You taught them that there's a difference between someone who's been broken and someone who's broken beyond repair. You may have scars, but you're far from broken. Now they know, don't they? They know that they were never the threat they thought they were, that they never held the power they believed they had. They've been left to wrestle with the weight of their own actions, to question the motives that drove them to try and tear down someone so resilient, so unyielding. And as they grapple with that reality, they're left wondering what it is about you that made you so unbreakable, so strong, so far beyond their reach. And you've walked away stronger, wiser, unbothered. You've left them in the dust, left them to ponder their own reflection, to face the reality of who they are, because you didn't need to fight, didn't need to stoop to their level. You simply stood tall, watched and waited, and in that silence they saw the truth of their own emptiness. You taught them a lesson they'll carry for the rest of their lives, that true strength isn't in the games, the control, the manipulation. It's in surviving, in standing strong, in refusing to break. So here's to you, the one who was too strong to shatter, too wise to fall for their tricks. Here's to the strength you found within yourself, the resilience they'll never understand, the quiet power of a soul that's been through the fire and emerged whole. They thought they could bring you down, but you rose above, and now they're left with nothing but the echoes of their own failures. And maybe, just maybe, they'll remember this lesson. Maybe they'll think twice before they try to break another. Maybe they'll understand that not everyone is as fragile as they appear, that some have learned to turn their scars into armor, their pain into strength. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll keep playing their games, keep trying to control and manipulate. But they'll always remember you, the one they couldn't break, the one who walked away stronger than ever. In the end, they're left with the weight of their own actions, a haunting reminder of what they lost when they tried to bring you down. They're left with the memory of the person who saw through it all, who refused to be controlled, who showed them the true meaning of strength. And as they move forward, they'll carry that lesson with them, a lesson they never wanted, but one they'll never forget. Because you were unbreakable, unstoppable, and far beyond anything they could have ever imagined. And now, every step they take is a reminder of what they lost, a consequence they didn't see coming. They thought they'd just move on, leave it all behind without a second thought. But life has a funny way of making people face themselves, doesn't it? Every person they meet, every new connection they try to make, it's haunted by the memory of the one who didn't break of you. They find themselves replaying conversations, rethinking those choices, wondering why they couldn't see the strength in you until it was far too late. They'll tell themselves it was for the best, that they're better off without the challenge, without facing someone who wouldn't bend to their games. But deep down, that voice in their mind will remind them of what they lost. Because they didn't just lose a person, they lost the chance to rise to the occasion, to be better, to grow. You held a mirror up to them, and instead of facing it, they chose to shatter it. Now, those broken reflections are all they're left with, pieces of a self they could have transformed if they'd only let go of their need for control. They'll find that others too are wiser now, more guarded. They thought you'd be the last person to see through them, but instead you showed the world their true nature. And the world? It's more cautious now, more aware, less willing to be fooled. They wanted to break you, but in doing so, they exposed themselves to everyone else. Now, as they navigate this new reality, they'll find that the games they used to play don't work quite like they did. People have seen the truth, and it's not easily forgotten. So here's the final irony: the very power they sought is the one they handed to you when they underestimated you. They tried to turn your past into your prison, but you made it your fortress. They wanted you to feel small, but you rose higher than they could ever reach. And now, while they stand alone with the wreckage of their own choices, you walk forward, stronger, untouched, free. So let them be haunted by what they've lost. Let them carry the weight of their own emotional neglect. And let them remember the one who walked away with her head held high, with her emotions intact, and with her strength unbroken. Because in the end, it wasn't their games that defined the aftermath, it was your resilience, your emotional authenticity, and your unwavering strength that reshaped their reality. You've left them with a legacy of emotional strength they can't emulate, a legacy of genuine connection they can never understand, and a legacy of resilience they can never replicate. And in the end, the silence they're left with is deafening. It's the absence of your presence, the void of the strength they failed to recognize, that now fills their every thought. They wanted power, control, but the tables turned, leaving them with nothing but an empty echo of the one who got away. They're haunted not just by what they lost, but by what they'll never become, the person they might have been if they'd let go of their games and embraced something real. And you're already gone, walking forward, leaving them to face the haunting realization that they were the ones who lost, not you. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to you about a profound and deeply personal experience that many of us have faced. The pain of being abandoned by those we trusted and relied on when we needed them the most. This experience is heart-wrenching, leaving us feeling alone, betrayed, and questioning our worth. But I am here to remind you that even in the darkest moments of abandonment, there is a wellspring of strength within you waiting to be discovered. There is no deeper hurt than feeling deserted by those who were supposed to stand by you. Whether it was a friend who vanished in your hour of need, a family member who turned their back on you, or a partner who walked away when things got tough, the sting of abandonment cuts deep. It leaves a void, a sense of emptiness that is hard to fill. You may find yourself asking, why did they leave? Wasn't I worth their support? What did I do wrong? It is important to remember that their departure says more about them than it does about you. Their inability to stand by you in tough times is a reflection of their own limitations, not your value. People leave for many reasons: fear, insecurity, their own struggles. These reasons, however painful, are not your fault. You are worthy of love and support, and the actions of others do not diminish your worth. When they left, it may have felt like the ground beneath you was giving way. But I am here to tell you that you are stronger than you think. Within you lies a reservoir of resilience that can carry you through the hardest of times. You have the power to rise above the hurt, to heal, and to rebuild your life with greater strength and purpose. In moments of abandonment, it is crucial to focus on those who remain. There are people in your life who will stand by you no matter what. They are the ones who see your value, who appreciate you for who you are, and who will never leave you in your time of need. Cherish these relationships and draw strength from them. Let them remind you that you are not alone and that you are deeply loved and valued. Moreover, use this experience as an opportunity to grow. Pain, as difficult as it is to endure, is a powerful teacher. It teaches us about our own strength, about the importance of self-reliance, and about the value of true, loyal connections. It sharpens our understanding of who we can trust and helps us to build a life surrounded by those who truly care for us. In the aftermath of abandonment, it is also vital to practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Allow yourself to grieve, to feel the pain, and to process the hurt. But do not let it define you. You are more than the pain you have endured. You are a person of immense strength, courage, and worth. Treat yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you would offer a dear friend in need. Remember, this experience does not mark the end of your story. It is a chapter that, while painful, will lead to new beginnings and greater strength. You have the power to write the next chapter of your life with resilience, hope, and an unwavering belief in your own worth. As you move forward, hold your head high. Know that you are stronger for having faced this trial, and that you are capable of overcoming anything that comes your way. Embrace the support of those who love you, and above all, believe in yourself. The moment you realize your worth, and the moment you decide to surround yourself with only those who truly value and support you, rise from this pain stronger and more resilient than ever before. Your journey is far from over, and the best is yet to come. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a funny thing, really, the way some people walk into someone else's life and believe they're in control. They think they're the ones pulling the strings, orchestrating the whole affair, playing a game they assume they've already won. They tell themselves that they're in charge, that they know every move, that they hold all the cards, and they start to believe that they've got the upper hand, that they're the ones running the show. But here's the truth they never see coming. They were playing by your rules the entire time. They thought they had you in the palm of their hand. They thought that with just the right words, the right promises, the right little lies, they could reel you in and keep you there. They believed you would play along, stay in line, dance to their tune. They convinced themselves that they could say or do whatever they pleased, that you'd always be there, a pawn on their board, waiting for them to make their next move. But all the while, as they strutted through their game with that dangerous confidence, they never stopped to think who might have set up the board. They never paused to consider that every step they took, every word they spoke was carefully watched, that every move they made was leading them precisely where you wanted them to go. They didn't realize that while they were busy trying to manipulate, trying to deceive, trying to stay one step ahead, they were walking right into your design. Because you see, you were never just another piece in their game. No, you were the one who knew all the rules, the one who'd played this game long before they ever entered the picture. And as they continued to scheme and maneuver, they were too wrapped up in their own illusions to see the truth staring back at them, that you were the game master all along, the one who held every card, the one who'd been in control from the very start. They believed they could play you, but every lie they told, every move they made, was a step deeper into the web you had spun. They thought they were setting you up, that they were holding all the power, never realizing they were being led, piece by piece, to the very end you'd planned for them. And when the dust settled, when they looked back and saw the trail of their own actions, their own deceit, there was a moment of pure, cold recognition they had been outplayed, every single step of the way. You didn't need to manipulate or deceive, you just needed to let them play out their own little schemes. Because you always knew that they'd be so blinded by their desire for control, for power, for the thrill of having someone under their thumb, that they'd never see what was happening until it was too late. You didn't hide, you didn't need to. You watched and waited, letting them think they had the upper hand, letting them believe they were the puppet masters, when in truth they were the ones dancing on strings they couldn't even see. And when they finally saw it, when it dawned on them that you were always in control, that they had been moving to your rhythm all along, there was nothing left to do but admit defeat. They looked back and realized that every step they took, every twist, every lie, every game was all part of your plan. They were the ones caught up, ensnared, playing in a game far bigger than they could have imagined. They say life is a game. Some enter it with open eyes, seeing every turn, every hidden trap, and knowing exactly what they're in for. Others step in blind with innocent hearts and naive hopes, thinking that love, trust, and loyalty are rules written in stone. But what happens when the game isn't what they expected? When the very ground they thought they stood on shifts beneath their feet? They start to realize that the game they thought they were playing was never the true game at all, because they never saw you coming. They walk in with their guard down, believing in the stories they've told themselves. They think they've mastered the art of control, of keeping their cards close, of setting up a fortress around their heart that no one could ever penetrate. They think they know all the rules, all the moves, but what they don't realize is that you're not playing by the same rules. You see through their walls, past their masks, right into the spaces they try so hard to keep hidden. You see every crack, every vulnerability, every secret they hoped would never be found. They think they're making calculated moves, pulling you closer, holding you at arm's length, giving just enough to keep you around but never too much to lose control. They think they're playing a delicate balancing act, one that keeps them in the driver's seat, one that lets them decide when and where the game ends. But little do they know, every time they push and pull, every time they try to reel you in and then let go, they're walking right into the web you've woven around them. They're not keeping you close, you're keeping them exactly where you want them. As they play their part, convinced they're the ones pulling the strings, they don't see the traps slowly closing in. They don't see that you're watching, waiting, letting them believe they have the upper hand. They're so blinded by their own belief in their control, in their own cunning, that they can't see the truth staring them in the face. You've been 2 steps ahead the entire time. While they've been busy calculating their every move, you've been setting the stage for the grand finale. People like them, they think they're invincible, that they've mastered the game of love and power, that they're the ones who decide who gets hurt and who walks away. They think they're untouchable, that no one could ever outplay them. But they forget that there's always someone who's seen it all before, someone who knows every game, every trick, every lie. They don't know that every word they say, every little action, is just another step in the path you've laid out for them. They think they're leading, but all along, they've been following. And then the moment comes, the one they never expected. They look around and suddenly the game they thought they controlled starts slipping from their grasp. They see you there, standing with a quiet smile, with a calmness they can't understand, and it hits them they've been played. The one they thought they were controlling, the one they thought was hanging on their every word, was the one guiding them the entire time. And that realization, it cuts deeper than any wound they could have imagined. They try to piece it together, try to understand where it all went wrong, how they lost control. They look back at every step they took, every decision they made, and realize that each one was part of your plan. They thought they were testing you, but they were the ones being tested. They thought they were keeping you at a distance, but they were the ones being kept on a string. They thought they were manipulating you, but they were the ones dancing to your tune. And in that moment, all their confidence, all their self-assuredness, it crumbles. The game for them has ended. They're left with nothing but memories of every move they made, every time they thought they had you right where they wanted. They see that you let them play, let them believe, let them think they were in control, all so they could learn the lesson they refused to see. Because sometimes the only way people learn is by losing, by tasting defeat, by seeing the consequences of their own choices. And now, as they look back, they understand that they were never the masters of this game. They were simply players on your board. They'll remember this lesson. Oh, they'll remember it well. They'll remember the feeling of certainty, of control, of power, and the way it all slipped away the moment they saw the truth. They'll remember the sting of realizing that they weren't as clever as they thought, that they were the ones who'd been caught in a game far beyond their understanding. And maybe, just maybe, they'll think twice before trying to play someone else the way they tried to play you. Because you see, there's a certain strength in letting others underestimate you. There's a power in letting them believe they're in control, in letting them think they're the ones calling the shots. They don't see you coming. They don't expect you to be the one who knows every twist, every turn. And when they finally see it, when they finally see you for who you truly are, it's too late. The game has already ended. The lesson has already ended. The lesson has already been learned. And they're left standing, wondering how they could have been so blind. And you walk away unscathed, with a quiet satisfaction, knowing you let them discover their own weakness, their own flaws. You didn't have to manipulate them, you simply let them be themselves. You let them play their game, knowing all along that it was leading them to the very outcome they never wanted. And as you walk away, you know that you're stronger for it, wiser, more aware of who you are and what you're capable of. So the next time someone tries to walk into your life with games and tricks, remember this: they may think they're the ones in control, but you know better. You've seen the game played out before, and you know that in the end, it's not about who plays the game, it's about who controls the board. And you, my friend, have proven that you are the master of the board. In the end, they learned a lesson they wouldn't soon forget. They may have thought they were the masters of manipulation, the ones pulling the strings, the ones who knew the game inside and out. But they were only players, and you were the one who controlled the board. And anyone who stepped into your world thinking they could play you would one day find themselves looking back, seeing every decision, every choice, every scheme, and realizing that it had all led them right into the palm of your hand.